Hi, Harry and Rhiannon. Here's another question. You talked a lot about a discipleship pathway or a process to help people deepen their discipleship, or indeed begin the discipleship journey. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? What does it consist of?
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
Sure. So in the Leading Your Church into Growth course, we thought about a framework of thinking about people at 4 stages of a discipleship journey. You don't have to be too rigid about this, but it helps you to think of people who are seeking, seekers becoming disciples, disciples becoming servants, and then those servants, disciples going out and helping others to become disciples. So that's roughly the sort of journey that people are on. And it's about asking the question about how people get from one stage to the next, and about again having some intentionality about that. Have you seen any of that in action, Rhiannon?
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking as well, it's not always like a straightforward sort of, you go one step, it's not always linear. Sometimes people take 2 steps and sometimes people go backwards, but the key thing is for the churches, for us to help people have easy little steps that they can take, so they're constantly moving closer to God and drawn by God. And in my context, we're constantly thinking, okay, this person has expressed some sort of interest. So we think, oh, perhaps they might be interested in coming to an Alpha course, or perhaps they might be interested in coming to a messy church, or they might even be interested in coming to a church service. So it's always thinking about what would be helpful for them next, and constantly inviting and encouraging.
It's good to take a step back and imagine that scenario of if you've got a seeker and you put a bit of a time scale on it, and imagine that in 2 years' time they're going to be someone who's really serving and active in the church. How do they get from having a sort of a small desire to get to know what faith is about a little bit? How would they get to that point in the life of your church? Are there the things in place that could help with that? And I mean, I think one of the challenges is always about how do people get on the rotas, even in our church activities? How do they get involved? How do they get on the coffee rota? How do they help out in worship, the reading or the praying? And not just how do they get involved in that, but part of being a disciple is that you learn by doing. So how do they learn how to lead intercessions? Are there courses for them to do? Is the leadership developments? All these kinds of things. So try and take a step back and imagine someone coming to your church who perhaps says, no, I've done an Alpha course, I've moved here from Wellington or Auckland, I've done an Alpha course, I'm definitely in on this, but I want to go deeper. How would your church help them to go deep? Do you know the answer to that question? I think that's a really helpul way to think about it.
And also that's good for as well, people that have been in the church for donkey's years.
Oh, that is true.
Just then they also have to think, oh, what's my discipleship journey?
Yeah.
We don't want people just being static.
Sure. So it's thinking through before time, having an intentional plan. I mean, there are many resources today, so it's about marshalling those resources so that you do have next steps for people.
I mean, I think you might have, for example, so just, we can perhaps just rattle some off. So someone's sort of fairly new to the church. Do you do like a welcome supper for people who've joined the church in the past year? And then at that welcome supper, you could share a little bit about the vision of the church. Then you could invite them to do, going a bit deeper with Christ, or a course on the creeds or the Lord's Prayer or something like that. And then from there you can say, now you've done this, do you want to help us by getting involved in our Sunday worship, or help with the kids? Or and then from there you can say, we'd love you to be part of the vestry, and we're going to help you to try and understand that and grow in that. There's all these kinds of different examples.
Small groups are key.
Small groups.
That's true.
And
Absolutely.
if you can have a mentor or someone one-to-one as well, it's just brilliant.
Thank you so much.